What's happening, guys? So today I want to do a review, a long-term review of this Final Fight Arcade1Up cabinet, and I want to get right to it because I want to say right off the jump that I'm not sure if it'll be a two-part, because you know me, I start going, I start rambling, and then I can't stop, and next thing I know, time flies. So, but let's get right to this cabinet. I want to say again, I said it in the past that this cabinet here is a top 5 cabinet, and I stick by that 100%. It's a top 5 offering from Arcade1Up. I think they knocked it out of the park. This is like a close to a perfect cabinet, and I've said that about the Pac-Man Plus. Stand by that as well. I'm having trouble with it, but when it's working properly, it definitely is a almost a perfect cabinet. This Final Fight here, it's just, you know, from the looks of the cab, they knocked it out of the park. It's a beautiful cabinet, sleek, you know, being an all black cabinet. It's just, it's got everything, guys. You know, it's got the looks. I mean, you know, out of the all black cabinets, I know Gallagher's a good looking cabinet, but in my opinion, Final Fight just bested. And, you know, between the, you know, the artwork, the black and the orange with the red and everything, the awesome control deck with the barbed wire and the, you know, the graphic logo, you know, just, I threw on the, also I threw on the orange bat tops, of course, and I think that just pops out and just completes, and it almost, to me, it looks like it's supposed to be there. But this cabinet's awesome, man. There's almost nothing wrong with it, guys. And, you know, I believe it should have been a standard. You know, with the cabinets that came after it, this should have been a standard from then on. And let's get into it. The games lineup, guys. You know, for a 4 games lineup, and I think this is one of the best 4 game lineups that Arcade1Up produced, you know, chose on a cabinet. You got, you know, the variety is there. It's so much variety in just 4 games. And, you know, with the beat 'em up, you got the shoot 'em up, and then you got the 2, you know, side-scrolling adventure games that couldn't be more different from one another. So, you know, this cabinet was a no-brainer for me. It really was. You know, Final Fight's one of my favorite cabinets cabinets. One of my favorite beat 'em ups of all time. And Strider is just, you know, a game I started playing first on the Genesis, on the Sega Genesis, until my thumbs bled. It was just, you know, something else, you know, being, you know, had the large sprites and, you know, the large Meg cartridge. It was just phenomenal. So, but this offering here from Arcade1Up, I mean, if I could say anything negative, and it's not a negative, I almost wish this cabinet would have came out possibly in a later generation, because, you know, then you would have had just a slight upgrades of the cabinet, you know, with the volume control. You know, it would have had the toggle from 0 to 15 instead of, you know, the only the off, you know, the mute and the low and high. You would have had the screen with a more laid back angle, which is something I also love. I mean, you could see it on the Pac-Man. You know, it just has that better depth and angle, you know, especially for you taller dudes out there. You know, this is more straight up, and so when you're looking down, it's, you know, it's not a big deal, but it's just so much nicer to have that angle. But, so, you know, this cabinet here, excellent, guys. And like I said, the games lineup, wonderful. And if we go to the screen is also a excellent screen. It really is. And, you know, it has good viewing angle. You know, when you go off to the side, you still see perfectly. Doesn't wash out on you. It has really nice colors that pop. And with the games corresponding to the screen, once again, it was thought out well. All of these games fit the screen perfectly. You know, nothing gets shrunk down. Everything's made for this aspect of screen, so you get all the aspect ratio. It's really nice. And guys, if my phone cuts off, I'll do a part 2 and I'll continue on. But Yeah, so the screen is really nice, guys. And like I said, Arcade1Up was possibly, brainstorming when they chose these games to screen because everything looks great. And I prefer the games fitting to the screen and not having to have certain games shrink down and have black bars and whatnot. I want to use the whole 17-inch screen, but the screen is great. Going to the controls, guys. Now we know it's standard fare with Arcade1Up. They use some kind of clone, sticks and buttons or whatnot. But with this cabinet not being a fighting cabinet or, a Pac-Man cabinet, where I believe with the Pac-Man you need accuracy, especially if you want to get competitive. But with these games, I find that it works really well. I don't even feel the need to swap out. I mean, if anything, I may swap out the spring and get something a little stiffer in there. I did that recently with the Pac-Man. There's a 4-pound spring in there now. I'll do a different video on that, guys, and explain how it's an improvement or not. But I also got actually real quick, guys, I got a new stick coming from DIY Retro Arcade, and I'm really excited about that. So, and a couple of springs as well. So, because I really want to get a little competitive with Pac-Man, and I want to start improving myself with it. And it's hard when you're getting deaths from the joystick itself and not because of you didn't make the right move. So, anyway, back to Final Fight. The controls are sufficient. The buttons are sufficient. They're your soft touch, straight up button, no click. Joysticks are click. They have a 1-pound in there. They're soft, but I tell you, for these games they feel good. And even for 1944, guys, where you have to make the quick maneuvers and all of that, it works. Everything's accurate. So, somebody else, enthusiast or something, they might want to swap out. But me myself, guys, I don't feel the need. I may just throw a 2-pound possibly in there or something. I feel the 4-pound's better for the Pac-Man because it just, you need that. But like I said, I'll get into that another time. So, the controls work with these games, man. And pretty much you won't have to do anything if you don't want. So, now going to the sound of this cabinet, this cabinet sounds really good. It really, for the single speaker, it sounds really good. You got the old way of going from mute to low to high, and they did a good job with the high being loud. I like it loud. Like I said, I like my cabinets loud. As long as it's not crackling or there's no sound, distorting from it being too loud, then in my opinion, it's not too loud. And that's how I roll. So now when you put it on medium, it's a nice difference. With this cabinet, I'm not sure if they tweaked back in the day when they put these out and they tweaked it up, but medium's nice and right where it should be, I believe. And, it sounds pretty good. I mean, so the sound sounds well. Now these games, all on this cabinet, they all save, guys. All of these games save. So all 4 games, you don't have to do any tricks, once again, no jumping out, jumping back in, doing anything. You just play. When you're done, you stop. It saves. These games all save. It's great. You can pull the plug out of the wall, leave it unplugged for days, put it back in. Your games are still there, man. Your high scores are still there. It's really what it should be. I mean, this should be a standard. Arcade1Up shouldn't be having a problem with this anymore. I mean, the bottom line is, arcade coin ops, that's what they're about. They're all about high scores. That's number 1 priority. When you walked into an arcade years ago, that's what first thing you looked at. That's the first thing you've seen on the screen. There's the high score. I'm going for the high score. Let's do this. Secondly, it would probably be levels. You want to survive and you want to go levels or possibly beat the game. Most of the time, you're going to be spending some quarters. But that was the beauty of the generation, because games were difficult. They were made to take your money, and it was great, man. It'll keep you coming back for more always. But so, I mean, controls great, games great, screen, I could say great. For Arcade1Up standards, this is all awesome stuff. And you know, I threw the light up marquee on there because now I can't go back. I have to have them on every one of my cabinets. You know, everybody knows that's the way to go. But I'm gonna say even the stock marquee looked really nice. And you know what? I'll show you that, guys, in a second. So guys, here you got the stock marquee, and you can see, you know, it's a nice ratio. The print, you know, it's actually a little better than my Arcade1Up print. My Arcade1Up print is slightly stretched, but you know, you see a little more over here. You can see the dots stop at yellow. Over here, there's 2 yellows. Now, let me get that light out of the way. See? So you see a little more with in comparison on my Arcade1Up light up